Operation Filmmaker came about when David Schiskal, who had studied film at Harvard also, contacted me and said that Liev Schreiber wanted to make this documentary about this Iraqi intern, and was I interested? And I don't think either David nor I thought it was going to be a very interesting film. We jokingly called it The Kindness of Liev Schreiber. I mean, how interesting can this be? This is really nice that he's doing this thing for this Iraqi guy, but where's the film? But then when I got to the set of Everything is Illuminated in Prague, and I saw that there was this conflict developing between Muthana and his American benefactors, and how this was the perfect metaphor for the invasion of Iraq, I thought, okay, this is fantastic. I've got to go with this story and make a film about it. I think one of the things that people like a lot about the film is the fact that you see glimpses of life in Iraq through Muthana's friends, who did not get an invitation by Liev Schreiber to leave. And they're film students also. And what they depict is how they're stuck in their homes, bored, frustrated, that they can't express themselves creatively, that they can't go out, that the power's off, that there's bombs going off outside their windows. And it reminds the viewer that this is what Muthana would have been experiencing had he not gotten really lucky. And it's also interesting because it makes you wonder, what would it have been like, what kind of film would have come out of, or story out of a different person being chosen? Because I think something that people wonder about when they watch the film is all of the difficulties and conflicts that Muthana experiences. How much of that is cultural and how much of that is just Muthana, his personality? And the film doesn't pretend to answer that question, but it definitely raises it. I have a history of making films in which I am a character. Always a Bridesmaid. It was a very personal film about my love life. But I had no intention of being in this film. And it was a relief to think about making a film that I wasn't going to be in, because it's a lot harder to make those films work. But what happened was I found myself inexorably drawn into this story because the main character, Muthana, this young Iraqi, started asking me for advice, asking me for my opinions, and eventually asking me for money and demanding money and even assaulting me on camera. So I thought, okay, clearly this has to be part of the film. I'm not young. Scratch that, not young. I'm an American woman wielding the power behind the camera. He's an Iraqi man who feels powerless and is trying to get the power. And meanwhile, our countries are at war with each other. It just felt like this is too perfect. I have to include it in the film. And so then in the edit room, it was the question of making that transition work from not being in the film to being a main character by the end of it, which was really difficult. But ultimately, I think it works.